What's up, everybody? It's Dave Fernape here from the NPL. I'm here with the Phoenix Sunkern coach, Cheeseboy628.
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
Doing good, my friend. How are you doing?
Great. Thank you for giving me your time. So we just finished the draft, and how do you like your draft?
So, I'm liking my draft quite a bit, actually. There was a couple stuff, and I mean, we'll go into that later, about, like, certain snipes and, like, potential regrets and what have you. But honestly, I'm looking back at my team, and I'm seeing, like, the reasoning and, like, taking the amount of time that I did for each round pick that I felt, synergy-wise, I really like it, and there's nothing that I felt I wasted my points on by any means. I really like it in general, honestly. There was some stuff in the past that I was like, well, shoot, but no, this time I really like the new system, and I feel it worked out for me.
It looks like you're running a different style of team. Normally you have hyper offense with a few defensive Pokemon. Here it looks like you're a lot different in your drafting.
Yeah, for sure. So I was looking at my team too, and I'm like, wait a sec. Okay, this is like really different. Number one, it's just like mons that I wouldn't necessarily pick, but it was. There's a couple different factors as to why that happened. Some stuff just gets sniped, but then some things get sniped for a certain reason, and we can talk about my little rivalry with the Sunfloras at another point in the interview. But another thing is just the point system is really different, because of course before it's like anyone can pick anything, so then it's like, well, all the good stuff's out of the way, kind of. But it's also just like managing your points, and if there's one thing I'm about, it is very much just making sure I have enough points to get everything I need. So obviously, well, not necessarily obviously, but this is the first time I've done draft league format with this point system, so I'm still getting used to it in that sense, and so I need to see if managing the points the way I did was worth it, or I really should have just went balls to the wall and picked some more hyper-aggressive mons. But the first three, yeah, I was picking just aggressive stuff, like, okay, yeah, I'm digging this. But yeah, you see some stuff like, you see good old Fanpy. I'll talk about Fanpy in a bit. But yeah, but there's like Musharna, there's Clef, there's Sableye, and honestly though, those are like the most defensive, even though Musharna, people have been scared of my Musharna in the past.
The return of Musharna.
It's pretty amusing that people remembered. Exactly. So it's bulky, but it can also be a very big offensive threat if you give it a chance. Klefki and Sableye, yeah, those things are pretty much guaranteed to be defensive. I mean, watch out players, you don't know what I'm about to do. But yeah, those are typically more defensive mons. But I mean, when you only have two mons as like your defensive core, I wouldn't say it's the most outrageous thing to have. I mean, I have some bulky offensive mons, but like Mega Blastoise, I'd say, is usually in that category. But Klefki and Sableye, yeah, those are defensive. But when you put into perspective of the rest of my team in what can be offensive versus what is like guaranteed defensive, I'd say it's still definitely in the offensive range. I just balanced it a little bit more this time.
It looks like, well, you got Latias, from last season. You franchised it, and Latias in itself is an expensive mon to get. And when you franchise a Pokemon, you actually end up having to pay extra on its cap. I believe 40% more. So, did that influence your drafting plans?
So yeah, there's some interesting factors that got into that, because last season I had some really cool mons for sure that I could have chosen to franchise still. I'm trying to think the ones that I wasn't allowed to franchise. I know one of them was Thundy-Eye, and
you can't franchise Megas either, so you couldn't get Mega Medicham again.
Right, and that's a story that I'll talk about in a second about my poor Mega Medicham. But yeah, there's Megas, there's Thundy-Eye, and I'm not sure if it was Manaphy. That I couldn't franchise, but that just left me to a couple of options like B-Sharp, maybe Latios, things like that. So then, of those mons, like, sure, there's that extra expense, which honestly at the time I was like, oh, I have 125 points. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. And in a sense, it wasn't the worst. I mean, I feel it was very fair. But it also guaranteed me this mon that people would otherwise grab for sure, and then just put it at the end. And so while I lose more points for it, I guaranteed to get another good mon. So that way when people are all taking these mons that are all like all the non-mega mons that are in the OU tier, I still get that guaranteed Latios. And Latios is super versatile, and I thought of the ones that I could keep from my season 4 draft. I thought that was probably the most applicable.
And a lot of other Pokemon that were really good that you could have franchised actually got taken by the Phoenix Sunflora. Like,
oh yeah,
Mega Medicham and Bisharp, I believe, were taken by them.
Oh yeah, exactly. Let's see, other mons that he, because I know he took like 4 mons of my last team, and those are, yep, Mega Medi, of course. He had to pick that first round. Oh, glory. He picked B-Sharp. I know I had Scolipede at one point. I don't know if it was last season or the season before that, but then he took Diancie. So, someone's trying to take my strategy, but I ain't letting it happen. I'll tell you that. He does have Torn T. That's going to be a fun mon to face. But yeah, in general, I mean, he picked the mons, but only one player can use the mons as well as the legendary Cheeseboy can. So I don't know. That's all I'm saying.
So you think the Sunkern are a superior team to the Sunflora then?
Oh, by far. There's no competition by any means.
Well,
I mean, go on.
He does regard you as the biggest rivalry and his hardest match of the entire season. So do you have the same?
Have you already interviewed him then, or?
Yep. So do you feel the same towards him?
I feel the same in regards to hardest rivalry. Oh man, this has been intense since Token Minorities hosted March Madness, when we did a draft thing, and then he picked Sunflora, and then we were like taunting each other back and forth, and then we faced off for one battle, and then we're not going to go into details, but there may or may not have been a little bit of that RNG factor, and he may have won that. So it may have made me a little passive aggressive toward him and aspiring to beat him. Yeah, so I would definitely say, I mean, it's right in the name that the rivalry is certainly strong and potentially the strongest in the league. In regards to matchup, I do agree that it will be the hardest for him, because it's going to be very easy for me. So
you have a lot of confidence. That's nice. At one point, did you feel that did you panic at any point? Because it looks like in the beginning you drafted expensive Pokemon like Tyranitar, Kyurem Black, Talonflame, and you had Latios in the back already eating up your cap. So did you at any point start to feel worried that you might run out of cap?
I was a little bit worried. I was thinking about my Mega for a bit. This kind of goes into what I was a little bit worried about, like sniping and that kind of thing, because like for my Mega, I mean, I believe it was Mega Banette had the least amount of points that were required to have a Mega, but I mean, I already had Sableye, and I needed a Ghost that was able to handle Mega Medicham. Like, I wanted to very much make sure that I had something for Mega Medicham, and boy, do I at this point. But yeah, so that was kind of my main thing with that. And I was honestly debating between Sableye versus Mega Sableye, and kind of just the point exchange there. Mega Sableye being worth 17 points, while Sableye's worth 9. So I did some calcs, and I saw that it would be worthwhile still to have Sableye if my intention was to counter his Mega Medicham with that. Of course, I should worry about other things as well, but I mean, Sableye is kind of a notable defensive mon in general, and I mean, for many a reason, because of its typing and ability and moveset. But yeah, so you may see that I picked Sableye, and then Dougie, and then Klefki. Klefki's more expensive, but Sableye being 9 points and Dougie being 6 points, those were like, oh, those are lower points, so maybe they're less valuable. But honestly, to me, when I assess like their ability against the rest of the teams, I find those to be pretty applicable, and I don't think they were a waste by any means. I know that I sniped some people too when I picked Dougie, and that was only round 5. Like that was my 5th pick, and so people are already like, man, I wanted Dougie and that kind of thing. But then I guess in the last bit of like regarding point management, I knew I wanted Lapras, and I was like, yes, and that'll leave me with 1 point, and so I picked Fanpy at the end. But I also have Mega Blastoise, which honestly I feel was good, because otherwise my only way to get rid of hazards would be Latios, and so this definitely gives me plenty of optimization in regards to that. And so, plus Mega Blastoise is by no means a bad mon, so I really think it ended up working fine.
Yeah. Instead of Fanpy, were you thinking of drafting Sunkern?
So I was for a second, for a couple of reasons. I mean, number one, of course, it's my mascot. That it's like this is what makes the Phoenix Sunkern the success that it is. Yeah. And plus, I had my fire and water types, and it's like jokingly you could be like, "Oh, I need a grass type. Let's pick Sunkern," as if that would help my defensive core by any means, or offensive, for that matter. But yeah, I just thought, last season, as much as I did want Sunkern to prove its success, which I really did create, as far as I know, I believe I did create that Sunkern set that, like, I don't think anyone has used that before. But nonetheless, I thought it would be cool to try it again for sure, just because like Phoenix Sunkern, and it's like, yeah, let's give it another go. But this is season 5. It's a whole new system right now in regards to like a bunch of different teams, and the competition might just be even more intense this year. Who knows, this season. Yeah, I just thought maybe pick a mon that will be more applicable, as opposed to one that will just endeavor you and just end you like that. Well, not even end you, it'll just bring you to 1 HP and then you'd go from there, as opposed to one that does have some versatility to it.
Okay, that's great. As we were talking about before, the Phoenix Sunflora, I actually heard a rumor that you guys were paired up in the March Madness tournament on purpose. The schedules were influenced on purpose to make sure you guys played.
Yes, that was indeed the case. It was, we were in the pooling format where I believe there were 5 teams, and then the top 2 would go on. Of course, I just had to place 3rd, but due to one of those losses being to the Sunflora, but yeah, that was designed, that was kind of the birth of our rivalry, and didn't really know him much at the time, didn't really know Riz at the time, but then I saw that team, and immediately I just announced to the chat, just like, wait, what's going on here? And immediately Riz took advantage of the chance to make this a huge rivalry, and indeed it grew to be what it is now.
That's great. Do you have any other rivalries? For example, the Toronto Raptors, who I believe sweeped you last year with a Lucario.
Yeah, we had, let's see.
You guys had
Lucario.
Couple of playoff matchups.
Exactly. Oh yeah, for the past 2 seasons, we it came down to both of us facing off in the semis until the winner would face Trev, of course, in the finals. And so it kind of just exchanged this year, this last season, that he won that one and I won the one before that. And so, in a sense, it's definitely a rivalry, because we're both adequate players, that's for sure. We both get how each other work at this point, and we both know each time that like we need to prepare for each other's matchups, and innovation's the name of the game. So yeah, who knows how it's going to play off this time. I do like the design of how the divisions are placed this time, though. So while he's not in my division, I believe I do get to face him at some point. I imagine that's probably how it was organized. But that way we still get a chance to like show off what we have, and then probably face each other in in the bracket when that's finally formed. So, granted, you both make it there, but yeah. Other than that, I'd say Trev is probably my second worst rivalry over the Sunfloras. I'd say Jolt's is more of a friendly rivalry. But yeah, Trev, just because, of course, he's back-to-back champion, and Jolt and I, for the past 2 seasons, have basically been battling to be like, okay, we know the winner of us is going to be facing Trev, and so how to do that. But, yep, he's taken it. He's got the confidence for sure, and we're just trying to take it down at this point.
Well, as you said, since Trev had won both times each, you and Jolt played and then had to face him, he won both of those matchups and was the champion. So do you think this year you'd be able to get past both Trev and Jolt?
Yeah, that's a good question. Let's see. I know one of my snipes, which was very important for me, I think, that I sniped Trev's Talonflame pick right before he would have gotten it. And yeah, I feel like that could have changed the game a bit. But yeah, if I'm to look at the teams right now, yeah, because he ended up picking Fletchender as his last pick. But yeah, I feel like I have a decent matchup against his team. Manaphy and Megaladios are certainly going to be formidable opponents for sure. But yeah, I think it's going to be an even matchup for sure. And I'd like to say the same thing about Toronto. He ended up picking Nosepass instead of Rattata at the end. Didn't know that. But
so we have a Fanpy versus Nosepass rivalry.
That's right. It's about to be real intense. But yeah, there's just certain mons that have certain niches against both of them, and that's what I really like about this, that every team is so uniquely different in that aspect. But yeah, I think they're both going to be very even, very intense matches that just let the better man, let the better, better team builder really win, I'd say.
You've had a lot of success in the past 2 seasons. As we said, you got to the semis, and what are your expectations or your hopes for this season?
Yeah, so I started off in Season 2 of the NPL, and of course now it's Season 5, so this will be my 4th season with them. Season 2 was just a blowout. I came in as a team basically after all the OU stuff was picked, so I basically had UU Hyper Offense as my team that year, and I almost made it to bracket that first season, but things ended up falling flat for a couple of reasons. Trev critting my Musharna, but who's upset? Anyway, going on from there, yeah, Season 3, I made it to the finals, ended up losing there, but then Season 4, I ended up getting to semis, so it was a small step back. I would say it's a small step back, because either way, we made it to bracket and made it really close too. At the very least, certainly want to make bracket again this season, and I mean, going for gold, there's no reason not to go for gold at this point. There's only so many places I haven't fallen to. I mean, lost in finals, lost in semis. It's time to win finals, I think. It's been long enough.
Okay, well, that's great. I wish you the best of luck, and maybe this year the Phoenix Sunkern can bring it home, and maybe the Phoenix Sunflora will get to watch nearby.
Yeah, I hope they don't get 16th like I'm expecting, but we'll see.
Okay, so thank you for your time. Good luck.
Absolutely.
Good luck in this season, and this has been Dave Fernape with another interview from the NPL. Thank you for watching.